Hello, today we are going to be creating this nighttime lake landscape with a bit of a sci-fi inspired sky. We are going to be using Sprite software, a 180 by 240 pixel canvas, and this palette called Berry Nebula. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start by going up to New File. We're going to create a new canvas with a width of 180 pixels and a height of 240 pixels. Once we've got our canvas here, we're going to go up to the Options menu and load a palette. Berry Nebula is the palette that we're using today. There will be a link to the palette in the description. Let's also configure our preview window here. Okay, we're going to start by renaming the current layer. Shift P will do that, to Sky. So we're going to use some of our darker colors here for the sky. We're going to use the darkest for the foreground, and the second darkest for the background color, and we're going to use the gradient tool, which is Shift G to select that. And we want to use the Bayer Matrix 8x8 setting here. And we're just going to go from the top down a little bit. I want to leave some of the darkest color at the top there. Then we're going to do the same thing with the next two colors. We're going to go down about a little over halfway down. Okay. We've got our sky here. One thing I like to do to mess up the uniform dithering pattern a bit is to use the spray brush, which is Shift B. Looks like we've got a spray width of 16 and a spray speed of 4. And I'll just select this color. Kind of spray in the top. We'll select this mid-tone color here. Give it some sprays and a bit of the lighter color. Okay, that just kind of breaks up the uniformity of the dithering pattern. Completely optional step if you don't want to do that. Alright, we're going to create a new layer, Shift N, and we're going to name that Shift P. Let's create the mountains next. So we're going to do our mountains kind of in this mid-tone color here. Make sure that we are on a single pixel brush. We're just kind of roughing in some mountains. There's going to be a lake in the foreground here. This is another mountain that the lake kind of bends back around behind this foreground mountain. Okay, we're going to select our mountains here. And I'm thinking we might actually make these mountains a little brighter. No, I think I like them. I think I like them darker. We can always change our mind later. We'll use this color that's a little brighter than the surrounding sky here. as our light side of the mountains. The light is hitting this side of the mountain face here. And then the same thing over here. And then since our giant moon is going to be right around here, that's actually going to be our light source. So while this isn't completely accurate, we are going to make this side here the lit side for this mountain. And we can add some roughness to it here. Indicate some peaks and valleys. Not too much. Okay. That's good enough for our mountains there. Next, we are going to, let's select this empty area down here before we create a new layer, and we'll call it the lake. We will start with this color in the lake. This is just kind of a placeholder for now. It's so bright. I need to tone it down. There we go. Alright, so we've got that. Let's move on to the focus of this one, which is going to be the giant moon, which will create a new layer for that. And this is going to be behind the mountains. Okay, so if you do a Shift M, that will select your elliptical marquee tool. And then as you start creating your shape, if you hit Shift, it will snap it to a perfect circle. Kind of like it right in the middle of this valley here. And we'll use this color to fill it with the F key. Okay. Now we're going to, select our paintbrush, make it a little bigger, and we're just kind of rough in where the light is hitting the moon here from the upper right. Okay, so a little bit brighter as we come down here. And don't worry about like rendering out a perfect sphere or anything like that. We're going to mix all these colors together. Alright, then the mid-tone here is already filled in. And we're going to take some of this color here. Fill in some of this side and go darker yet over here. I'm not too worried about the color of the mountains running into the color of the moon here, because we're going to add some edge lighting on the mountains that'll help differentiate that. But for now, let's get rid of our mountains and our lake, and we'll just concentrate on our moon here. So going back to a 1 pixel brush, we're going to create a pattern kind of like this. Kind of a checkerboard pattern, a 2x2. We select it and do Control B, and that gives us a brush that is that same pattern. And you can play with the pattern aligned to source or pattern aligned to destination. I like to leave it on destination. And then you just kind of scrub our colors together here. You don't have to be very careful when you're doing this. And then you can change this brush's colors by selecting foreground and background colors using the Alt color picker tool. And you can move on to blending your next set of colors. Do the same over here. I don't like having too many big swaths of solid color for these planets, so I'll come through here and add some noise. We might go even a little darker over on this edge here. Let's bring our mountains back to see where they are going to cover. Okay. That looks all right. Now that we've got this blended out a little bit, I like to come back through with a regular 1 pixel brush and just draw into the dithering a little bit, breaking that up. Just kind of doing this randomly. Alright, that's a pretty good looking planet. I do want to add a little more noise to this strip of solid color here. So you can actually come back up here to your brushes selection, and that one that we had before should be near the bottom of the list, so you can just reselect it without having to recreate it. Can even bring some of the darker pieces over onto the lighter side of the moon. Okay, we'll call that good for the moon. Next we're going to create a new layer and we're going to add some stars. So to do this, we're going to start with the color just one value brighter than our darkest one. Select our spray brush tool, Shift B. Oops, we still have our custom brush. Escape to get rid of that. Shift B to get back to the spray brush. Add some stars up here into the top. Then we'll go up a level. Just lightly tapping the colors in. If you hold and drag too much, you get too much. I'll show you what that looks like. That's too many stars. And I like to do some clusters, not a uniform spray of stars across. Moving into a different hue here. As you get more toward the horizon, you're going to see less stars just because of the brightness near the bottom. Alright, we can add some brighter yet stars, but we're going to use these sparingly. Okay, there are some good stars. Let's add some smaller moons next. So we're going to use our same elliptical selection tool, Shift M to get that, and then snap it with the Shift key. That's pretty good size. We'll fill it with this color. We'll end up removing the stars from it here. We'll just go ahead and do that now. Go back to our moon. Add some brightness to it here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go select the layer above and go to M. That's our selection tool. Then we can move this selection down and over a bit to help us create our crescent moon. So we can delete this section out of it here. That will help give us that crescent moon shape. But we still need to go in and go back to our pattern brush. Okay. And I want to get rid of these stars here. Make sure there are no stars kind of where the dark side of the moon would be. That'll help give us the impression that it's there, but we really don't have anything drawn there. Let's do one more small moon. Shift M. Can do just a little guy. Delete our stars out. Reselect. Go back to the stars layer now. M to get our selection tool. And then we can move it. Go back to our original layer and delete out everything that won't be part of the crescent. You can control click on a layer to select everything on that layer. That's a helpful little shortcut. That really helps so we don't end up drawing outside of our moon shape here. Okay, back to our pattern brush. That's about as good as you're gonna get on that small of a moon. And we'll remove these stars nearby. Okay, so we've got our sky kind of set up. One thing I like to do to add a little flavor is add some of these like shooting star type shapes. Like we're having a bit of a star shower. I go through and then I erase some sections out of them. Just get some skips across the sky. Add some visual interest, I think. Okay. Next, we are ready to tackle the lake. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do the lake in 2 layers. So first, we need to get the base layer that's really just going to be the main color values of the lake at any particular point. The main bit of light is going to be coming right from this moon here, headed directly towards us, the viewer. So this part, this swath of the lake right in the middle here, headed towards us, is going to be the brightest point. So I just kind of do some wild horizontal strokes coming towards the bottom of the canvas. This will make sense in a sec. Things get a little darker the further to the side from the moon you are. Want to make sure that your strokes are mainly horizontal here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. We're also going to have a bit darker as we move to the edges of the canvas. And we will do something to differentiate the lake from the mountain shore. Almost done. Don't let your wrist give out on you now. Okay, and maybe just a little bit of the real dark color over here on the edge. Okay. Now we need to mix them up a little bit. More horizontal strokes. The only thing here is you want to try to make them a bit smaller as they're further off in the distance. These are kind of indicating the waves or ripples in the water. So they can be a bit bigger closer up, but again, don't worry too much about that. Kind of going for a bit of a painterly effect here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to cover it up with a transparent layer anyway. There's another section where it's okay to really bring some of these darker colors closer to the brightest point of your lake. But much like the moon, we're just trying not to have too many solid swaths of color. Over on the edges, it's fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and create our shoreline here. And I do that by just using one value brighter than what the lake is at that particular point. And create a shoreline. It may not be the best way to do it, but it works. Okay. Now what we're going to do next is we are going to create a reflection on the lake of our pretty sky here, along with our mountains. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through and duplicate every one of these layers. Oops. We don't need 3 mountain layers, just 2 of each. Okay, so now we should have a bunch of copies. I'm going to move them all up next to one another. So we got mountain, stars, moon 2, moon 1, giant moon. Gonna have to move this down a little bit here. And the copy of our sky. Then I'm just going to drag my mouse across all the copies to select them all, right click and flatten them. So we'll call this reflection. So we're going to take our reflection layer and select about down to here. We're going to cut it, paste it, and flip it vertically. Shift V. And And then we'll move it down. Our reflection needs to be above our lake layer here. Oh dear. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. We just kind of want to put it into its proper place. And you can squish it down so that it fits on there. And then we're gonna go to the properties of the reflection and drop that opacity quite a lot. Maybe something around 77 might be okay here. Then we're going to go into our reflection and we're just going to do some more horizontal strokes with the eraser here. Carve out some of the waves that would be blocking the reflection. They're not even waves, just ripples. It's mainly going to be visible over the moons. But I think it's important to do it in lots of places. You really want to kind of break up the recognizable shapes. One thing I'm doing while I'm doing these horizontal clicks, so I'm keeping an eye on my preview window here, just making sure everything looks good in the big picture. One thing I'm noticing is these mountain reflections are too perfect. Break up some of the more recognizable features in the reflection. Alright, that looks like a pretty good lake. Now let's add some foreground trees here. These are just going to be silhouettes. So I'll start by just making some sticks. I want to make sure we don't cover up our pretty reflection. So we want something that will kind of frame it like this. And then we're gonna hide all the other layers so we can work on our trees here. And for this, I'm just kind of doing some messy left and right strokes to approximate a pine tree. So one thing you'll notice about pine trees is the branches towards the top kind of angle up, and then as you get further down, they kind of flatten out under the weight of the branch, and then towards the bottom they start to kind of bend towards the ground. And a lot of this is going to be hidden in the darkness of our lake. So we definitely don't need to be perfect here. Especially down here near the bottom, there's going to be not a lot of light shining through. Okay, that's good enough. And then let's be dirty cheaters. Oops. And we'll select some of our pre-built tree here. Copy and paste that. Maybe this can go over here. We'll paste again, maybe flip it horizontally. And that can be this tree. Paste it again. Come down here. Don't tell anybody you did this. They'll never know. You can even squish it a little bit to change it up. Flip it horizontally to go here. And then you can go back and make it unique. But it saves a little bit of time. We can bring our other layers back now to kind of see how those foreground trees are looking. See what kind of adjustments need to be made. I think they're too see-through. So I'm going to fill some of this in here. We forgot half a tree here, didn't we? Okay, just kind of filling things in where it seems appropriate. Especially near the trunks of the trees.